Zone.
Hello, and welcome to Phantom Zone, the podcast where we dredge the lakes of hell in search of the worst the cinematic world has to offer. And then we put it on trial for its various crimes against humanity. And should a film be found guilty, it will be jettisoned into the far, far, vast reaches of space, a Phantom Zone, if you will. I'm your host, Adrian Torres, and joining me, as always, is my barbarian brother, Scott Daly. How you doing, Scott?
I'm doing good, Adrian. I was going to just bark at you there, but I decided that wouldn't make for good audio listening.
Well, we'll have to test that out later when we relay it to the people, because that's a point that we need to bring up when we get to it. I don't know what possessed me to want to choose this film. I think
Satan did it.
Probably we can blame that. You know, Satan's in the details. But for all the movies that we've done so far, we haven't really nailed down doing like a sword and sandals epic, really. And of course, there was a huge heyday in like the 80s and 90s, where everywhere you looked, there was just a crap ton of them all over the place. When video was becoming big, you had lots of horror movies that were coming out, and then a ton of sword and sandals films. People who wanted to cash in on Conan the Barbarian and all the films of that ilk. Most of them are terrible. And of course, because we usually go to the well of Voodoo's free movies whenever we have the chance, I saw a movie on there from 1987 that's called The Barbarians, starring the Barbarian brothers. So not only did they want to have the sword and sandals of Conan the Barbarian, but they kept Barbarian in the title, and they chose two bodybuilders that they thought were going to become the next big duo. Unfortunately, the Barbarian brothers are not people who should be on anyone's radar.
No. They are some of the worst actors I've ever seen. And not just like, Arnold Schwarzenegger wasn't a great actor at first, but Arnold Schwarzenegger had like a presence to him. These guys do not have that.
No. Yeah, he had that it factor that, you know, people could gravitate to, or at least be on his side. He was able to turn the audience, whereas everything that the Barbarian brothers, who are David Paul and Peter Paul, push away the audience basically any chance they get. The plot of the movie, it's really simple, and so thankfully IMDb can put it in such a concise nugget of two twin barbarians seek revenge from the warlord who massacred their tribe and captured them when they were small children. Now, when I say it encompasses the movie, I mean it doesn't explain a goddamn thing that happens in the film.
It's also not true.
Exactly.
Their tribe was not massacred.
They're not. They're just exiled to a forest. They don't really want to get revenge on him because they don't really know what's going on. And for the majority of the movie, you don't actually know what's going on or what the thrust is.
No, the main conflict of this film is nothing.
No, it's nothing.
I don't know what the gem is, what the gem does, why people want the gem, why them getting the gem would be bad.
Were you not listening to the very beginning of the movie when we had our wonderful narration?
Yeah, it didn't really explain anything, though.
He mentions there's a narrator who we never see in the film. He never comes back besides the main opening of the film. And he says that long ago, there were a band of travelers who were able to basically stop in every port wherever they wanted to go. They were able to travel. No one would stop them. No one would hassle them. And that was because long ago they made a deal with a king, and they brought him a whole bunch of gold and traded the gold for a ruby. And the ruby was magic and was filled with the contents of music, joyful laughter, and about 75 different things. Like all the goodness in the world basically is within this ruby, and whoever has the ruby is able to spread, I guess, peace and joy, happiness to everyone in the land.
So
We're not told where the ruby comes from. It's just, oh yeah, they traded a whole bunch of gold to this king for the ruby.
We don't know where it comes from, but we do know where it goes, and that is in a belly button.
Because if it's not being referred to as a ruby, it's being referred to as the belly stone. It's from the very start of the movie, you know exactly what you're in for with the fact that it is a 4:3 aspect ratio, and it looks like it's a copy of a copy. What they used to call VHS dupes. When a movie was made really cheap, for like the first batch of or the second batch of copies would usually be that somebody took a VHS tape, which was, the highest form of technology at the time outside of film itself. And they would make a like several copies from the master tape, but you're making a copy of a copy. And so the quality of it is already waning.
Yeah.
And that's how this movie is when it opens. Like, you're seeing it and you're like, even if this was in HD, it would not be doing anything any favors.
Yeah, well, it has some of the crappiest production quality anyway. So even I mean, I think it would be worse if it was clear. Like, I think the only thing it's got going for it is that it's kind of it is the copy of the copy, because you can't see where the dragon is just this.
We're not. It's not. We'll get to that, because I'm not really sure we can call it
a dragon. You mean a tube with a little weird head coming out of it?
You're getting far ahead of yourself, basically.
I'm sorry. I'm just so excited.
Of course, because this is a bad movie that we're covering, there is a glorious / terrible synth score that erupts out of nowhere at the very beginning of the movie. And I was actually digging it because it was a better quality synth than some of like the dinky Casios we've heard in the movies.
Yeah, I liked it a lot too. I think it's weird though, because I don't think it doesn't jive with what they're going for here. And well, no. Nothing really jives. Like, America 3000 was this crazy weird movie, but they kind of you could tell they were going for something with their weird language and stuff. Like this, inventing a weird language, having people talk differently, that's too much for this movie.
That's because they had actors who were attempting to act, and this movie is on the back of the Barbarian brothers, and the Barbarian brothers seem like they might need to go under medical testing to find out if they are special needs. And I don't mean that as a bad way, but if you have certain disabilities in life, then you can have people help you along the way. And the Barbarian brothers seem like they need people to help them along the way and not just leave them together. They're like the too small, even though they're like 30 whatever in this movie. They seem like if you took two small, 7 or 8 year old kids who were brothers together and left them in a very breakable shop, everything would get destroyed. Is kind of how these two feel like when they're just living life, if we're going by the movie.
I think that's fair.
You can tell that somebody pitched them the movie. You can tell that somebody gave them a script. I wouldn't say that they memorized any of their lines and that they're making up the approximation of what they're supposed to be doing.
Here's how I imagine the shoot went. Okay, you got to go over there and get the weapon. You know your lines, right? No. Okay, so just kind of grunt and talk to each other, and then run over there and pick up the weapon, and then action. And that's how every scene went, every single one.
Hey, basically, I feel sorry for the third person who's in most of the movie with them, which leads us to a special segment we're going to have here, because we have something very special we need to give out. There we go. We are happy to say that this movie is our third outing with one Eva LaRue.
Yay!
3 movies. Ghoulies 3, RoboCop 3, and now The Barbarians. She is the third billed person in the movie, and she's the third lead. Directly outside of the Barbarian brothers, there's Eva LaRue. This is her first film, so we can give her, a little bit of a break. But this is 3 that we've had. And I guarantee you that we're probably going to have like at least 3 to 4 more. So we wanted to give her a special, shout out and welcome her to the club. Kind of like how you have that club that's on SNL for people who've hosted 5 times or more. We're going to give that to Eva LaRue and have her be the first person that we welcome into the club, since she continually pops up in all these things.
I think we should call it the Zoni Award. That's what I think we should call
it. The LaRue?
Oh, that's even better because she's the first one. Yeah, I like
exactly.
The LaRue.
That's when we that's how you make headway. If you're the person who kind of sets this trail ablaze, then you get to have the thing named after you.
So is it from now on, anytime you have 3 or more appearances in separate movies in Phantom Zone, you get a LaRue?
You're in the LaRue club.
Right. Eva LaRue. Congratulations. You're
first one. We'll make sure to add that to your Wikipedia page.
God, Eva LaRue is so pretty, and she's such a terrible actress. She's really bad.
She's trying, though. She's trying. I'll give her credit, because she's trying so much.
And she's very lucky that she's most of her scenes are just with her and the Barbarian brothers, because she looks amazing compared to them.
You're a world-class actor if you're alongside the Barbarian brothers. Oh man, their troop that they have at the beginning when we're kind of learning about everything with the Ruby, and that there's the Queen Canary, literally her name, and their troop is kind of like Cirque du Soleil meets Renaissance Fair, I think. Does that sound about apt?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Okay.
Maybe like circus freaks on the side.
Yes, 1 or 2. They're called the Ragnicks. They pronounce it a couple different ways.
I mean, we're like, again, America 3000 comes up with amazing ways to invent words. This is just like someone like threw up alphabet soup and just picked something.
We see a whole bunch of people on a caravan, but it doesn't matter because literally half of them are killed within the first 5 minutes. We see 3 riders approaching with terrible, terrible makeup. 3 riders who we never see the rest of the movie after this scene.
Yeah, it kind of sets them up to seem like they're going to be like the main sub-villains, and like our characters
like the main henchmen.
Yeah, there's the word I was looking for, henchmen. Like our characters are going to be fighting them throughout the film. No.
Yeah, and the action sequence I wrote, and I think sums it up perfectly, and is kind of how most of the movie is someone thought Mad Max on horses, and no one thought to tell them no. Because it has a feel that the first action sequence when we're introduced to the characters is basically like the end of Road Warrior, except for it's a horse-drawn carriage. Yeah,
you're right. And especially when you have the fire breather blowing fire at them to chase them away.
And then you've got the the giant crossbow that they've got on the back of one of the vehicles. Which they've got the knife throwers.
The giant crossbow, which they shoot into the ground, and then it springs open, I guess, clothesline things? Like, I don't understand. It
trips one of the horses.
I don't understand.
It's so many wasted dagger throws, too. They showed the guy throwing the daggers, and it's not really doing anything whatsoever.
Although, I'm going to say this, though. Yeah. This is the best shot action scene in the entire movie, right here at the beginning.
Yes,
it goes downhill.
Everything's concise and composed. It just doesn't make any sense, and you don't really care that it's taking place. And it's supposed to be setting up the young version of the Barbarian brothers, who were basically orphans that were found on the road, and this guy who we're not really told why he wants to rule everything, other than it is apparently some type of Middle Ages and there has to be a bad guy. And if you're a bad guy, you want to rule everything. So Kadar comes walking up and is the person who stopped the caravan so that he can get a hold of the ruby. The ruby's no longer with the caravan because Canary sent a guy out into the wilderness and said, "Hey, you've got to find the tree. You know exactly where to hide this."
And we'll talk about that genius hiding spot in a bit.
Yes. And Karnak is prone to like just weird dialogue. And like the way that he he tries to berate Canary is by saying, sorry, it's time for you to learn the pleasures of surrender.
He's a weird dude. And here's, again, this is where I don't understand the motivation, because you're like, he wants to rule everything. He kind of already seems like he does, though. And positioning these people as like a traveling troupe of actors and performers, like, they're not a threat to you. This doesn't make any sense. Like, if these are the only people that are going to challenge you in the world, you win. It's over.
Yeah. And I don't know if he's supposed to be like scary or intimidating, but he just starts laughing and then just starts stabbing several different people of the troupe while laughing. And that's supposed to be like him exerting his power. And you're like, no, not really.
I was terrified. He's a weird dude.
But it's okay, because one of the Barbarian brothers, they don't have names at this point, goes up and bites Kadar's fingers off, like two of them.
Which will never matter in the rest of the movie.
No. You see it like a couple times, but it doesn't matter. Kadar wants to kill them, and Canary decides, no, don't touch them. Don't hurt them. Just let them go. And he asks, he's like, so are they somebody important to you? And she goes, no, they're just two kids that we found orphaned, and we took them in. And I'm like, so you're willing to just, go into slavery for these two orphan kids that are of no importance to you?
And he agrees to let them live in exchange for marriage, right?
Well, for her doing anything that he asks. He never directly asked for marriage, and there's never a point that they try to. But he says, you'll do anything that I say, and you'll be my slave, and you'll, wait on my every whim.
Here's the thing, though. He captured her. She already was his slave. Like, I have guys with swords. I make you do things. We don't have to enter into this bargain to make you do stuff because I won.
No, and they even make the point of, he makes the point of saying that they won't, none of his people will kill the brothers, and that he won't kill them. And then 2 seconds later, when they get to the camp and everything, there's the sorceress China who blows stuff on the kids, and it's like, oh, well, you don't need to worry about them because they're going to die by each other's hand. Which comes up like 5 minutes later, but doesn't even do anything. Like, she's really bad at the prophecies that she sets out.
Well, it's funny because she calls it a prophecy, but then they specifically set about to make this come true by training them to hate people with the opposite mask for years. Like, it's not a prophecy when you say it's just a plan at that point. Like, you're not good at magic. You're just planning.
So they put the kids to work in the slave camp, and like Scott said, they have them. They're separated and beaten every night, and for most of the day, I'm guessing, when they're not lifting rocks. And the two guys that are whipping them have different masks. One of them has a gold mask. One of them has a black mask.
Yeah,
and somehow they're supposedly conditioning them to hate the people in the mask, even though they have to go out and lift a whole bunch of rocks and get whipped during the day by guys who don't have masks. And apparently like 10 years go by. No one else in the movie ages whatsoever. just the Barbarian brothers. The Barbarian brothers, who are in a camp of a whole bunch of other people, this prison camp. And yet they are able to swell up into, as Scott lovingly calls them,
giant guys, giant men.
They become muscle-bound freaks doing the exact same work that everyone else does in the camp, yet everyone else is scrawny and decimated and like going to die.
See, at the end of the day, after a long, hard day of slaving and getting whipped and a long night of getting tortured, you just go to the prison gym. And you just do some curls, and then
the prison gym that only has access to the two of them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be a certain wideness to get in.
Poking holes in your logic here, Scott. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
I do apologize.
I'm trying to help the movie out.
So we meet the Dirt Master, who is the person who I guess is partially training / having them be beaten. We don't really find out what the point of him is, except for I guess he's supposed to oversee the process until they have to fight each other.
Yep.
The day just randomly occurs. Like in other movies, they usually have it be, oh, there's a wedding ceremony, or we've got these dignitaries coming into town, so we want to put on a show, and so therefore you're going to fight for each other.
No,
when they're just like,
just Tuesday.
It's a Wednesday. Yeah.
Oh, we went for different days, huh?
Yeah. Well, it's the middle of the week on a day that no one really cares about in general. That's basically how it feels, and so
here it is, a decade of planning, arduous.
They've got the moment.
Torturing.
They put it on. They start that. Well, they don't really start to fight. They stand there for what feels like a good 2 minutes staring at each other before they start to fight, and then they hit each other's helmet to break it, and then they pull off the helmet, and then they have a wonderful little exchange.
And here we go.
Look, you lump of hog piss. I'm looking, yeah? Then suppose you tell me what you're doing with my face.
Well done.
It's
Well
wonderful.
done.
It's wonderful.
We learned shortly before this that their name are Gore and Kuchek or Kuchek.
Yeah. Do you know which is which?
No, I don't. One of them has a yellow bandana, and one of them has a brown bandana. That is how they are. They're told apart. I do think that the stupid one, the one who says lump of hard piss, I'm pretty sure that's Gore, because the other one ends up saying, Gore, it's me, your brother. First of all, Gore doesn't understand that or remember that because he just accused you of stealing his face even though he has his face, because he doesn't understand genetics or the possibility of having siblings.
I love the idea that you see someone that has your face, knowing you are a twin, and your first reaction is, where'd you get my face?
You stole it from me, you bastard. Literally 30 seconds goes by, and Gore's convinced, oh, you are my brother. This totally makes sense. We should probably get out of here.
And there goes a decade of planning gone in 30 seconds.
And they just tear down like the stick wall that's right there. And the Dirt Master seems very excited by the prospect of the wall being torn down. But then the second they grab horses and ride off, he starts screaming at the top of his lungs.
And that's the end of that. They're free now. Movie over.
No, they decide that they're just going to ride for a couple days, and they end up coming across a caravan that's got weeds and trees and everything that's growing over it, because they basically wanted to go back home to their group, and they see that no one's there. And then everyone kind of emerges from the woods, but because the Barbarian brothers are now muscle-bound freaks, no one believes that they're the people that they were from years ago. And that's when we meet Ibar. Is that his name? I think the guy
I think so.
Who's got a ram's head, but he's referred to as Moose Head. And
these guys,
we get one of my favorite insults for no reason, and just how everybody flies off the handles, and how what they believe to be comedy doesn't really work, because Ibar ends up calling one of the brothers a fatty, and his response is, fatty, me? Did he call me a fatty? You're the fatty, Moosehead.
And this is like these guys, these brothers, like there are some people in this movie like doing accents and like trying to sound, I guess, like Old Englishy a little bit. Not the brothers. They're just speaking in a New York City accent.
Yeah, they're like second generation Eastern European that lives in New York.
Yep, basically, exactly.
So their only decision, the troop of people, the Ragnecks, they decide the only route is that they need to hang these two individuals, because you don't have a civil discourse and try to figure out who people are.
And normally you have to do like a crime before you get hung, but
no, they just decide that they're going to go straight into the hanging. And we get a reoccurring theme that Scott's probably going to play this at least 4 or 5 different times because it's something that keeps coming up into the movie. There's 2 things that one of the brothers do, either gore or what's this say? Let's just say they're both gore.
Okay,
I think that's simple. The other guy, I can't. Yeah, the Gore brothers. So they push Gore off to be hung, and he makes a sound that repeats several times throughout the movie. So we'll play that, and then we'll get to the second one. He's making that noise to flex his neck so that he can break the rope.
Yeah, if you listen, you can hear the rope straining noise in there, too.
Yeah. But that first bellowing sound, he makes at least 5 different times throughout the movie.
Yeah, and like, I guess in context of the scene, it makes sense, because, like, maybe, like, that's how he's flexing his neck. It does not make...
the sound?
Yeah, I don't know. It does not make sense after he's free, but he keeps doing it.
He keeps doing it, and then he's so pleased with himself that he was able to break the rope that he launches into a fit of hysterics. In the middle there, that fucking braying comes back probably about 15, 16 times in the movie. It's this movie's Carol Ann, is that goddamn braying.
It really is. And again, like, I guess what they're trying to do is show, like, how animalistic these guys are, but they talk with that, like, New York accent. Like, it doesn't work.
They come off as idiots. Like, anytime the 2 characters are talking with each other, they feel like imbeciles.
Yeah, and I mean, to make matters worse, their performance is bad, and the timing of it is bad. Like, they have no timing. The movie can't fix any of their timing and editing, so it's like almost between every line, there's like a pause while you hear one of them like try to internally remember their line or something, and it's so bad. It's so bad.
It's so. They're no longer hung. When they showed up to the town, they ended up coming across Eva LaRue's character, who was imprisoned for something. We never find out why she's in prison.
It doesn't matter.
They end up taking her because they need some weapons. And she says, "Oh, I know of a place where you can easily get weapons." So they go to a bar that's called the Bucket of Blood, and they find a guy who's willing to barter with them. If they can pay, of course, because they have no money, they end up wagering to have an arm wrestling contest. Because if we've been taught anything from Over the Top, all of life's possessions and worries and questions can be answered in a good arm wrestling match.
Yeah, especially when you're a giant person.
When you're a giant person, and the person that you're going up against in the arm wrestling match is yet another more giant person, you know, the stakes are just raised. But thankfully, this movie in the Bucket of Blood bar lets us know that regardless of what time, what place, what eon, what era you may be in, there's probably going to be a stripper pole and somebody stripping.
But not nude. She's not naked. And there's boobs in this movie. But
there's nothing wrong with that. I just thought it was funny that they made sure to have a point that they're like, hey, we've got a stripper pole and we've got a dancer.
Well, how else are you supposed to know?
Understand the context.
How else are you supposed to know it's like a seedy bar if there's not a stripper?
Because it's a bar in this time period. They're all seedy. That's anything. You look at from any of like the Sword and Sandals, you know, through like the Middle Ages movies. Anytime there's a bar that people go to, they're seedy as fuck. That's the whole reason people are going to them. It's not like they only have certain ones that are known for ill repute. Every single bar is.
It's all of them. You're right. You're absolutely right. Who wins the arm wrestling?
No, why would you even question it? What's the name of the movie?
The Barbarians.
Yes, the Barbarians, exactly. So Gore wins, which naturally leads to a fight because It's that type of movie. And we learned that the brothers aren't really good at fighting because their main tactics involve pushing people back or picking them up and throwing them. Well, I mean, there are a couple like punches in there, but compared to the pushing and throwing people in the air, it's you know.
Is it shocking that a bodybuilder only really knows how to lift things?
Do you even lift people, bro? Oh.
So they win this fight.
Yes.
And then they leave
without
the weapons.
They get onto the horses and they have no weapons and they ride off. Where do they ride off to?
I don't remember it, honestly.
They ride off to I don't remember the full. It's the tomb of the something king, but she ends up telling them. Eva LaRue's like, "Oh, hey, I know of this place where we can go get some weapons for you guys."
Oh yeah.
So they end up going to this temple and go inside, and just casually in the middle of it, there's an open area where they've got dead bodies that have a whole bunch of armor and weapons and everything. And the brothers can't decide if they want either a sword or an axe, because just like two petulant children, one of them has an axe and the other one goes, "No, I want the axe. No, I want the sword." And they switch it back and forth. What they should have been questioning is, hey, there's a whole bunch of dead bodies here. What killed these things?
It's werewolves.
It is werewolves. But first of all, before we even get the werewolves, while they're putting on the armor and everything, what does Gore decide to do?
Does he do a little of this?
No.
Damn it! I just wanted to play it. It
was the braying. He broke out the braying.
Does he do a little of this?
Scene. No, don't. No. God damn it. No. But he's putting on the armor and he starts braying. Like, that's an excited, nervous tick. But as Scott mentioned, werewolves is what killed the people. So they finish putting on the armor. They have their stuff. A werewolf appears at the top of the stairs to the temple, growls, jumps down because he gets shot by an arrow by Ava LaRue. Directly after falling down, Gore grabs his head and chops off the head.
Yeah.
So not much of a threat.
No, well, I guess, firstly, like, 2 werewolf arms shot out from the ground, and they just ripped those off and we're done with it. And then the scene... Oh, yeah, that's right. And then we change scene, and then we come back to it, and they've got the armor on now, and then the werewolf comes. So it's like, we had this arm appear, they ripped it off through it, and then just moved on with their lives. And then the werewolf comes, but then they just kill... You're right, they just kill it immediately.
They chop off its head, and it's basically a joke to them, because Gore decides that he should have a little fun with this decapitated head. I wanted to make sure that Scott played that in full, because that's 12 fucking seconds. He grabs the head, points the head to Ava LaRue's character, holds it up to her face, and then starts barking while holding the head in her face. And it goes on for 12 seconds.
I love it.
What the fuck is this going on?
I don't know. And let's remember that we don't know what's happening right now. Like, what are they doing? Why are they even here?
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So, the Barbarian brothers are idiots. We've established that.
It's very well established.
And that's what we forgot. That because we skipped the scene that lasts for like 2 minutes that comes out of nowhere. I don't even remember when it happens.
Did we skip the orgy where there's the giant orgy? I think we skipped that.
Because it comes in between all this. God damn it! I can't believe we I hate this movie.
It's okay. It's okay. There's a giant orgy. They go to meet their old queen lady.
Yeah, they go to see Canary. I think it's after. Okay, I believe it's after the bar. But then before they go to the temple. Yeah,
Canary's the one that tells him to go to the temple. Canary's the one that tells him to go to get the rock and says, like, I told you about... Yeah, sorry. It's a rock. I told you about where it is in your childhood stories, so follow those things. So they do that. And then on their way out, they see a big pile of women, so they just sleep with them in front of Canary.
Yeah, which to me, I'm like, okay, that's pretty fucked up. This is your surrogate mother. And you're just like, yeah, we're gonna totally bone these chicks. Sorry, we've got to do it. It's the law of the land at this time.
The weirdest part of this, so they get pulled into the orgy of women, and then the scene ends, and they wake up surrounded by these women and get up and go. And then it cuts to Eva LaRue, who's been outside waiting for them all, and she
Sleeping
also wakes up under a pile of men. So. Are they implying that she had an orgy with them?
She did not. No, she didn't. We'll get to that in a few minutes, but she did not. Like, that's just how they slept for warmth outside.
Of course.
And that's why she's mad at them. Not so much that they had sex, but they were inside where it was warmer. Which is funny that they make a big deal about them having the orgy because they're basically sexless for the rest of the film. They're not really interested in women at any other point. They're not even making sexual advances really to Eva LaRue's character.
Right, I thought it would be a fun little love triangle between two brothers, but they don't go there at all. They're not interested in it.
But so that's what's weird about the orgy aspect, that it doesn't fit with the way they're being portrayed at any other point.
And he did it in front of your mom. Like, she has to sit there in a cage watching this happen.
Hey, adopted mother.
It's still weird.
Oh, fuck. So they go to find the ruby where it is by going to, like, the forbidden Darklands, or no one wants to go because there's evil stuff out there. A dragon, we're told. It doesn't look like a dragon. It looks like a slug rat creature. We never see it in full. We see it from straight on, and it's got like a rat looking face.
It's a camera crane with a rat head on it. That's what it is.
If you took Falcor from Neverending Story and dumped toxic waste on him, that's what this thing looks like.
And it's also the least effective dragon ever. They kill everything in this so easily.
It lunges forward, and so they're able to jump down into a pit that and lure the dragon over it, and then they just start jabbing upwards while its guts fall onto them.
But I love that. I love this because, like, Eva LaRue's like, "Hey, there's this big hole here. Just jump in this hole, and I'll lead the dragon over the hole, and then you can kill it." And it's like, it's almost you can almost see like the meeting between the production crew, because they're like, here's the thing, this dragon can't really move, so we can't like have them fight it. So how do we do?
But here's the benefit: our lead actors, they can't really move, so it's a win-win situation.
So we put them in a hole, and then all we have to do is tell them to stab upwards, and then
that's it. Just thrust us upwards. But I guarantee you that probably took like 5 days to film.
I'm sure it did.
They couldn't thrust upwards in unison. So they climb into the dragon, where they find the Kadar's evil sorceress in the belly of the dragon. You know, not decomposing or anything, just chilling out completely, no slime or anything on her, casually holding the ruby, even though she's dead.
Yeah. So here's my problem. Like, the ruby is important, apparently.
Yes.
But it seems like it was pretty safe.
Inside the body of a dragon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think it's pretty safe there. So why don't we just leave it there, and then we don't have to worry about the bad guy finding the ruby ever.
No. But they decide to take it out, you know, because that's a good idea. It made me mad. It made me mad that's how easy it was for them to take it. And like they smile too when they see China. Did you notice that?
Yeah, because she's a dick, and they're glad she's dead.
Well, they didn't really have any like connection or anything with her, but they just pop up and they go, "It's China," and they just have a giant smile on their face.
It's
and
not
they're
really
like,
even.
Oh, and the ruby.
It's not really even clear how they know her name, because she's like the main bad guy's main sorceress, and they've been in slave pits forever. It doesn't really make sense. Like, it would make a lot more sense for it to be Dirt Master, and then be happy about Dirt Master's death, who I don't think we ever get to see again. So we don't. He's
left in town. But at the same time, when China is found dead inside the dragon, we haven't seen her in like a good 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah, well, I think we see her, like, she finds the ruby, right? Like, because she just overhears Canary telling them where the ruby is, which,
exactly.
Great job, Canary.
Well, no, she doesn't remember. It's the old pasty prostitute. And when I say old pasty prostitute, like, she's clearly a slightly older actress, but they've decided to put like white face paint on her compared to everyone else.
That was really weird.
No one else has it. No one else has this, articulation or care put into their costume and the way their face looks. They made sure to have this person look like that. And then she tells China, "Hey, I overheard this. It might be important."
Yeah.
And China's like, "Oh my God, it's been 10 years and no one's talked about the ruby. We should have probably thought about trying to get that sometime in the last decade."
You know how that makes me feel?
Yeah. So they get the ruby. And they end up walking out the other side of the forest, which leads them through a cave, which brings them to a waterfall.
Because they gotta wash off all the dragon blood off them. Here's the thing. Here's the thing we haven't said about the brothers so far. This entire movie, they are covered in baby oil, like covered, like constantly, like they're like. It almost hurts your eyes. So they come out and they're covered in like the dragon blood. They wash off in the waterfall, and then bam, they got baby oil back on them again. It's so ridiculous.
But I love after one of the brothers has cleaned himself off in the waterfall, and they're walking up, and the other brothers got horses, and they ask him, "Where'd you get horses?" And his response was, "They were waiting. They knew instinctually we'd be here."
Yeah, why was that beat? Like, that's something you can lose on the cutting room floor. No one cares why the horses are there still.
I'm like, no, fuck you, guy. It's not how it works at all. So they give Evil LaRue the ruby and say, go take this to Ishbar. And then he creepily leans in and goes, Kara.
Which, I mean...
Because he's been obsessed with, I don't remember if it's Gore or the one that starts with a K, but he's been obsessed for most of the movie calling her Kara. We have no indication why, and we don't even really know who Kara is. I think Kara was supposed to be the third person who looked like a long-haired boy, but I guess was a girl. At the beginning when we met them and everybody got taken off, but we don't know anything about Kara, and even at the beginning scene with the caravan, they never mentioned Kara. And so he just seems like a crazy person for calling this girl Kara the whole time. She takes the ruby, rides off into the forest, ends up coming across the tribe. Right before she does, she decides to stare at the ruby, and while she's staring at the ruby, we see Kadar and Canary in the Forbidden Lands looking for the ruby, and the movie decides to get really, really stupid. And Canary says, "You're not going to be able to find the ruby. Only the eyes of an eagle can gaze upon a ruby. A serpent would be blinded, confused by it." And then directly after she says that, Kadar's vision goes wonky, and he starts stabbing at the air, but missing, and he can't hit Canary until finally he stabs her in the chest.
This is the worst magic spell ever.
if you've put, a charm or illusion on somebody so that they can't see straight, so that they don't kill you, it's usually a good idea to take like a couple steps back or maybe run away. I don't
understand what she was trying to do here. Like,
No.
I guess this is the movie's representation of a spell. So she was like confusing him. Yeah, but she just stands there as he like pokes wildly, and then she's kind of happy about dying. She's like,
which I didn't get. We find out that her being stabbed lets us in on the fact that she is the life force of the ruby.
Which doesn't make any sense because they traded. Like, where did this thing come from?
Yeah, the movie can't make up its mind, but you come to find out because Eva LaRue has the ruby and it stops gleaming, and she tells everybody in town, "Oh no, it's not flickering anymore." And the lead guy goes, "Oh, that means that Canary's dead. We must who knows? We're all doomed. Everything is lost. Music is dead. Joy, magic in the world no longer exist. Everything is terrible." Literally about 30 seconds go by, and the ruby has a slight little glint, and the leader's like, "Oh, we have time, quick!" And then his wife girlfriend, who's next to him, yells, "Hurry! Bring the virgins!"
That's my favorite line in the movie. "Quickly, gather the virgins!"
And sure enough, it turns out, the leader's really pissed off because it turns out that there's only 2 virgins in town, and neither of which
only 2.
There's it doesn't work on either one of them, so he's quite upset. And then he looks over to Eva LaRue, and he's like, "You come over here.
You look like a virgin. Get over here."
And she doesn't go over there, so they say, "Quickly, grab her and expose her belly." And so they put the ruby in, and sure enough, it stays in her belly button and starts to glow. And they get really excited because that means that magic and everything can live on, and like everybody erupts and is happy. And then the main guy's wife goes, "But she's not a member of the tribe," which makes everybody get sad for 2 seconds until Eva LaRue says, "No, you guys, it's okay. I'm Kara."
Which they play it as a reveal, right? But I don't know who Kara is.
I don't care.
First of all, they play it as a reveal, and I don't know who Kara is. Second of all, they already revealed it with Gore calling her Kara throughout the entire movie. It's almost as if here's what I think happened. I think the Barbarian brothers just couldn't understand. Like, someone told them at some point in pre-production that Eva LaRue was Kara. So they
going to be Kara?
Yeah. So he just kept calling her Kara, and they just got tired of redoing the scene, taking another take. So they were just fine, just have him call her Kara. Fine, I don't even care anymore.
I believe that because anytime that he calls Eva LaRue Kara, she kind of looks back at him like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And not this is how. This isn't my name. This is yeah. Well, it feels like the famous Star Wars trivia from A New Hope. You know this piece, don't you?
No.
When they come back from the Death Star battle in the
when he calls her Carrie, yeah,
like that bit. That's the type of reaction that it feels like, but it's not. The reveal's not earned. Just it doesn't.
No, not
it doesn't
at all. Because it
doesn't make any sense
immaterial.
why the yeah, and the Barbarian brothers, end up seeing that Canary is dead, so they decide to go back home. They have a little action sequence that's literally, again, 30 seconds long and has no bearing on anything except for you see the crazy wild helmets that Kadar's men wear, which look like giant tridents.
Yeah. We've never seen these guys before, I don't think.
No.
And they're just suddenly here now.
They're just with Kadar. Kadar decides that he's going to ride off because he has no bargaining chip. But halfway through his writing off, he decides, you know what, I want to turn around and I want to finish things with these guys. So we've got a fight between Kadar and the Barbarian brothers, which is one of the longer action scenes, but not much happens in it.
It's so bad.
they have a stare down that lasts like 45 seconds before he decides that he's going to ride towards them. And this is after he's put his sword away and he pulls out the little dagger so that he can lean back and slice him on the rib cage. And he then decides that he's going to switch to the sword, which allows one of the brothers to grab the horse and knock him off. And then they're able to kill him.
They spear him with swords.
They throw
swords.
Like they chuck it.
Yeah, like 6 feet. And they go through him. I mean, that's the most powerful throw I've ever seen.
Well, it's the Barbarian brothers. Are you saying they're not the strongest people?
I mean, touche. They are giant men.
Yes. Thankfully, now that Kara's queen, the troop has decided that they're going to just ride all over town, singing and smiling. And sure enough, they happen to come across the Barbarian brothers. And it cuts to a shot of them on their own caravan with Kara in between them. And the brothers arguing about who's going to use the whip and who's going to use the reins. But no, the other one wants to use it. Like, these guys were just sliced open and have giant gashes on their body.
No, they got over that.
And no one's, come to their aid. And they also, apparently, the Barbarian brothers show up and are like, no, we would have drive the cart.
Here's the thing. If you cover a wound in baby oil, it gets better.
I do not think that is correct. I'm pretty sure that there's a chance that it's going to get infected and you may die.
Don't try this at home, kids.
There's 2 things that Phantom Zone would like to bring to the attention of the audience in this episode. A, if you have a giant gash, you should go to the hospital. Do not cover it in baby oil. Secondly, if you have a lump of hard piss, you should definitely go to the doctor. Yeah. Something is not right with you.
Something's going wrong down there. Get it looked at.
Two things we need to know. Third of all, probably not a good idea to go around sticking rubies in your belly button.
But if it falls out, it means you have not been chosen.
It also means that there's a chance that you're not actually a virgin.
So I guess that's what it was saying, right? That she's a virgin.
I guess it's the true virgin test. You put in the ruby, and if the ruby falls out, it means that they have had sex.
It's like, so you're a virgin, huh? Let me just test this out real quick.
I wonder why that never caught on. Scott.
You liar.
That's what they need for something like Monster Squad.
Oh man, so that's it, and then we get the best exit music I've ever heard.
Scott's opinion.
I've ever heard.
Scott's opinion.
We've been using the Snake Eater song for a while now. That's a good song, but I think we found a new outro song.
We can use it for a little bit. I'm still partial to, and I will never want to change from the Snake Eater song, and that's mostly because the Snake Eater song is singing directly to the main character of the film.
It is. But this is talking about a ruby.
Yes, but that's it. Did you want to play a clip of it, or do you just want to play it at the end?
I'll play it at the end.
Okay, that's fine. I actually think we have an easy one this time when it comes to how we fix it, and that's by putting different actors in the film.
Yeah, or don't make it. I mean, it's just like there's. And I try to be as positive as possible with these things, right? Because I think just being negative for 2 hours is kind of shitty. But there's kernels of good idea here. I actually really like the idea of training these guys their entire lives to hate the person with the other mask to force them to kill each other. I think that's a really cool thing. I think you can build a lot of the movie around that idea instead of just throwing it away in 5 minutes at the beginning. I think that's a cool idea. I think there are some other cool ideas here. I don't like their special effects are bad, but that's fine. That's not their fault. They just didn't have a lot of money. But yeah, it's just the acting is a mess. The directing, the editing, it's just all it's tonally inert.
But that's what I think the main issue is with having these guys in there is that you can't have a way to find a through line with the tone because you don't have actors that are in your leads that are able to convey what the tone should be. If you put other actors, people who can actually act and just happen to be in good shape, you'd be able to sell it. You don't even need for them to be twins. They can just be brothers in general. That's fine. But think about the points where certain action sequences are cut short. They can be easily making it into a running joke along the lines of like Indiana Jones. You could have that be something that's set up, that every time you think it's going to be a big battle but ends up being a small thing, but have the movie play into that and be like, no, have the movie make it a joke, you know, and have the movie be in on the joke instead of just have it happen and you feel nothing with it because of how the brothers are. Like, you get that feeling with the werewolf showing up in the doorway and then being shot and having his head chopped off. They want it to play as a laugh, but there's never any like dramatic tension. There's no stakes for these characters before that. So when it happens, it just falls flat. And then you get that weird barking situation. Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right. That's what happens when you make a project basically around these people instead of making a movie and then casting your people. I bet they wrote this for these two guys. I mean, it's called the Barbarians. They're called the Barbarian Brothers. Like, this is a vehicle for these two guys, and it's a lemon.
The part of it has to do with the company who made the film, which, strangely enough, is the same company that made America 3000. It's the Cannon Film Group. It's got the stench of Golem and Globus on it. So
I can't believe we haven't done a lot of Cannon movies yet.
No. I mean, but for all the Cannon films that I've seen in general, this one is like worse than the other ones, because the other ones usually have like redeeming qualities and you can meet it on a certain level. And part of it has to deal with the Barbarian Brothers, and part of it has to deal with it like not being weird enough. Like, they have elements of it, the shitty rat dragon and the werewolves lead an idea to, you know, a weirder and wackier film that gets undercut by the fact that you have these two leads.
Absolutely, I completely agree. If you're gonna make this movie, lean into it. Lean into the weirdness.
Embrace it. Embrace the inherent weirdness of something like this, because then you'll get the audience on your side. And that's still something that happens today that I've very much been an outspoken proponent to, that if you want your movie to be weird or insane or absurd, lean into that. Have that be your driving focal point. Don't try to go back and over-explain scenes. Don't go back and put in modeling scenes. Don't try to have it be then dark at the same time. If you want your movie to be crazy, that's fine. Let it be crazy. The worst thing that can happen when you embrace having a movie be as totally bug nuts as it can be is it becomes a glorious train wreck.
Yeah.
People are willing to watch, raise up, shout about, buy thousands of copies of movies that end up being colossal train wrecks, as opposed to movies that are just
Yeah, I agree. There's one coming out today, actually, as we record this, and I'm excited about it.
I guess
The Mummy.
We're talking about The Mummy. It's out currently right now. We have time that we could actually go see it today, because the thing that we didn't mention is that Scott and I have been up early this morning.
Sorry.
Are not doing traditional work, so we decided to record very, very early today. And I'm saying that we're recording at a time that most people are getting to work or are still sleeping on a Friday.
That's how dedicated we are to these shitty fucking movies.
We lean into the absurdity and the insanity. Scott, what is your vote and takeaway here?
Man, this was this is such a bad movie. But I kind of want to say not guilty, because like it's not like it doesn't anger me. But, I'm going to say not guilty because these guys suck. I don't want these brothers are terrible.
But you don't want to banish them?
Yeah, well, I don't know. I feel like it's bad in this not as bad way. You can. I mean, I think you can tell when we hated a movie so much that it just it makes us mad that we have to talk about it. I think Señorita Justice is my go-to example for that. That I was angry during that entire recording because I was just I can't believe we have to talk about this movie for an hour.
So you can embrace the badness of this film,
right? And I don't think it's not so bad. It's good at all. No. It's just a bad movie, but it's a harmless bad movie. It's
an oddity. It's an oddity.
Yeah. And again, I think my litmus test here for you get a group of people together on a Friday night, you have little drinks, you watch this movie, you're gonna have a good time.
You're not going to have the same time that you're going to have with something like The Room or a couple other movies that we've done.
No. This is not a cult classic movie. This is a bad movie that I had a relatively good time watching and a much better time talking about.
Compared to some of the other sword and sandal epics that are out there, I will say that it's not bad as some of the other ones that I've seen. It's not as bad as the later Deathstalker movies. If you don't know anything about Deathstalker movies, congratulations. You're a good individual.
Thank you, because I don't.
The third Deathstalker movie is actually a classic episode of MST3K. And Mr. Science Theater 3000 had, in the later years, had several sword and sandals shit films from the 80s. So some of them are something like this is a little bit easier to stomach because they can be far worse. The production values for this are actually better than the third Deathstalker movie. So that's all I'll say.
Wow, that's
wow. Or even Outlaw of Gore. That's I think you'd like that one if you checked out the MST3K episode. For those who know what I'm talking about, all I will say is Cabot. I think I'll actually side with you, Scott. It's not an egregiously horrible or offensive movie. It's ineptly made. It's poorly made. It does have some weird charm at points. It was a pain to sit through because I was rolling my eyes so much, but it was never fuck you. I hate this movie. It's more like, fuck, Jesus, I can't believe this shit got made. It's not like somebody made something that's like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing. I'm so happy with what I made, and you watching it as an audience member feel insulted by it. This you can definitely find some chuckles, but it's not as bad as other movies that we've made, and it's not so offensive that I want to get rid of it. I think you could have some fun if you found some worse, so bad it's good sword and sandals films and do like a double or triple feature with this. That might be fun if you put like this one in the middle and you've already had like a couple drinks when you get to it.
Yeah, completely agree.
All right, so there we go. Unfortunately, the Barbarian brothers live to breathe another day, but that also means that there's a chance that we might get to visit one of the other movies that the gentlemen have made.
Yeah, and I think that was my final kind of like, I don't want to get rid of them yet because I want to see what they come up with next.
There's got to be something that's either better or worse than this, so you want that opportunity to see how true that is.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Right. Not guilty.
That's how I feel. There is a movie that's called Twin Sitting, where they are two guys who end up babysitting two twins while also trying to thwart the plans of an evil businessman.
That sounds amazing. We got to do that. We definitely have to do that.
Or there's one where they are truckers, and it's the first film that was directed by John Turteltaub, who, if people aren't sure who that is, he did While You Were Sleeping, Phenomenon, Sorcerer's Apprentice, National Treasure 1 and 2, and a slew of other Disney films. Got to start with the Barbarian brothers.
Yep, got to.
Okay, Scott, where can we find you on the internet?
I can be found on Twitter at ScottDaly85. That's DALY. Or you can find all my writing, all the other podcasts we do, and everything else at dailyplanetfilms.com.
All right, awesome. And I can be found at Adrian Torres on Twitter. I also have writings up at boomhowdy.com. I got a review of My Cousin Rachel that opens today. It's okay. It's not a great film. It's shot amazingly, and the mise en scène for the movie is astounding and tells a better story than like the actual writing or directing does.
But how does it compare to The Barbarians?
I think we won't get into that. Well, no, because like Barbarians bothered me on a different level, and like My Cousin Rachel should be a good film. It's just weightless and hollow, so it never really connects. Like the story and pieces are there, but it doesn't add up. You have no real emotional connection or feeling to it, and you can respect the way that it's made, but you can't really latch on to it. I'd say that competently and as a film, yeah, of course it's better than The Barbarians, but that's neither here nor there. I am excited because I've got a couple movies that I'm going to be reviewing next week. I get to see Cars 3 and then Rough Night, so that'll be fun. At the same time, if anybody who's listening happens to be in the Kansas City area, next Tuesday evening at the Alamo Draft House, they are showing Evil Dead 2 in 35 millimeter. So that's a better execution of the type of movie that I think The Barbarians wants to lean into. But it's 35 millimeter. Anytime that movies are shown like that, you got to give a chance and go out and see it. So yeah, should be interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. Cool.
All right. Well, until next time, you guys behave. And now, Scott, please give us a little Ruby music.
Let it hit your ears. Sweet music.
What's it called? Is it Ruby Dawn?
Ruby Dawn. And it's funny because you can't actually, like, I didn't know it was Dawn at first because it's like they say Ruby and then it's like Dawn. I didn't know.
It's not like Ruby Dong.
No.
Yeah,
it might be, actually. I don't know. just enjoy Ruby Dawn.
Ruby Dawn, you've got me in a spell. Ruby Dawn, are you